Eastern United States. Do I have your permission to record? Even though
Don't
I'm
let
already
anybody know
recording?
I'm from that terrible country.
Is one in danger of losing it all?
Why is lanfear a better match for Rand than Egwene is?
And how many times will I bash Rand this entire season? You'll start your countdown now as we review the first 2 episodes of Season 3 of The Wheel of Time here on Bustin' Blockbusters. Straight out of Two Rivers, baby. Welcome to Bustin' Blockbusters. We've got Priscilla. We've got Bubba. Priscilla is at Priscilla TV1 on YouTube. You're catching this video on the Double P Media Network, which is where Bubba is from. That's at the word double the letter PHQ on the social medias, and at the word double the letter P, the word media on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. They're covering Severance. Everybody's talking about Severance. You should be too. Listen to Bubba and Catfish. Do it the Milk Chin Men way with the Milk Chin Men podcast. We have no time to discuss anything but these 2 episodes. Season 3, episode 1, To Race the Shadow, which was written by Justin Jewel Gilmer and directed by Kieran Donnelly. One of these days I'll get names right. Chaos erupts within the White Towers as our heroes become targets of new evil. And Season 3, Episode 2, A Question of Crimson. A dangerous visitor comes to the White Tower. Perrin returns home. Rand and Egwene forge their own paths under Moiraine's watchful eye. That one written by Kate McKenna and directed again by Kieran Donnelly. We're not going to waste any time. Priscilla, give me your rating of the first episode, 301, To Race the Shadow, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I gave a 9.2 out of 10 double Bs.
Wait, double B's?
Double
Yeah.
B's?
Bad bubbles. So it's like the bubbles of evil. Matt was waiting like crazy for bubbles of evil. So there you have it. It's all yours, Matt.
Got it.
I thought the action was great in the episode. I really think that Rafe had reason to be very proud of the whole sequence in the White Tower. It was really interesting to see like so many channelers fighting at the same time. It was epic. But what really intrigues me, as always, is the group dynamics and the interpersonal relationships, and how they are dealing with what happened in the second season, how they are looking forward to the challenges that they had. So Rand finally not embracing, but like he has accepted that he is the Dragon Reborn, and he is like reading the prophecies and speaking to Elayne about rulership. And this is good news and bad news at the same time, because that's what the Dragon Reborn is good news and bad news. And the greatest surprise was to see Egwene as the good girlfriend in this season, like really being there for Rand, and like putting Rand and all his questions like as a number 1 priority, which I wouldn't say it's a departure, but it's like I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's might be like some residual trauma that she's facing, because she's really like pushing herself to be by Rand's side, even though it's not good for her. And Elayne and Aviendha, again, I think I got exactly what is going on there. I think I have the right idea. Like they are the number 1 couple in the future relationship, if the future relationship will happen, which it's already kind of established that will happen in this episode and in the next. But they are the ones that are like the big love thing going on there.
Okay, Bubba, how about you?
Well, Priscilla rated it 9.2 out of 10. That's so much higher than mine, because I'm only going to rate it 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, triple M's.
Triple M's.
Well,
Wow.
Matt, I thought you read the books. I'm the only one here who hasn't read the books that this season is based on. And Triple M, if you are a Wheel of Time fan, you know that's a mirror monster mash. They're monsters in the mirrors and they're mashing. Man, this first episode was so good. It felt rushed. But what is wonderful is at this point in the story, we should be rushing. I was glad it felt rushing. These are 8-episode seasons. Look at the size of our cast of characters we've got to cover. Let's go, go, go. We don't have to waste or spend time meeting new characters and get caught up to speed on them in this first episode. Sure, there's some Black Aja that we've never seen before, but hey, we get the idea. They're on the bad guy team. Let's rush. The show is on the get on with it. I loved it. The action, Priscilla's 100% right. The action in this fight in the tower, 10 out of 10. Incredible. Great leaps forward. Now, I do have to ask you, Priscilla, and I hate to sidetrack this already. There were some jumps and leaps in my mind. I didn't notice in season 2 that suddenly Aviendha and Elayne were going to enter into a relationship. To me, it felt all off screen, off the page. I don't mind though. Hey, let's get to it. Hey, we got this big cast of characters. Let's have some connections. You know what? We jumped to Matt suddenly having troubles with his horn blowing powers. Once again, I don't mind. Let's go, go, go. I'm excited. This first episode really got me excited as a show watcher only for what we have lying ahead.
Nice. You know what, Bubba? I don't recall Aviendha and Elayne sharing a scene at all in season 2.
Right. So the fact
So
that
all of
Priscilla
that
called it, she's
establishment
smart.
we assume happened on the boat ride, the month-long boat ride that Matt
The
mentioned.
love boat.
Exactly. You guys are both wrong, though. I
What?
mean, this episode was a 9.8 out of 10, double C's.
Double C.
Double C.
Yeah, creepy cards.
What?
Oh my gosh. Priscilla already blew my big statement. I mean, we got the bubbles of evil, which for book readers was so important. And no, you know what? The cards didn't do exactly what they did in the books, but I didn't care. We got them all. We got the axe, we got the bubbles, or the cards, we got the mirrors, we got everything that I wanted, and I wasn't expecting it. I figured they could only afford to do the big opening, and then there wouldn't be anything else. We got Greymen, we got all of these crazy things that just makes a book reader so happy, and things that I just thought that the show was going to have to abandon. They brought in stuff. I feel bad for you, Bubba, because you're probably going to have to wait until season 4 comes out until you can read 4 books in a row really fast. You're going to have to read The Dragon Reborn, to Shadow Rising, Fires of Heaven, and then just Lord of Chaos. Never call it the Lord of Chaos. Lord of Chaos. You're going to have to read all 4 of those between seasons 4 and 5.
Wow.
So that you'll know when they're starting in like book 10 on season 5. But anyway, I just absolutely loved it. Yosha doing the crazy Rand thing in Egwene's
that was great.
acceptance test.
That was great.
Amazing.
That
now
was
I know why this kid was cast. I had
questioned I know exactly why he was cast since the first picture. Don't go there.
He was cast because he has such a range, and I got a feeling as a book reader we're going to see even more of that range as the season goes on. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just immaculate. Not anything I was expecting, and everything that I needed and didn't even know it. I can't find very much. I'm just leaving room of a 0.2 because even though I expect some episodes to be better, this was the best episode of the series for me so far on Amazon. This was the best combination of book adaptation and adding different kinds of elements. It worked so well for me. I can't tell you how excited I am. Now, that said, we're covering 2 episodes this week. We're not going to. Amazon released 3 episodes in a single day, which is just criminal because it drives all content providers crazy. It also shortens the season, which gives us less time to talk about things. But we're going to split it up because of the way our schedules are and everything. We're only rating 2 episodes this week. Episode 302, A Question of Crimson. Bubba, give me your rating on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, we are having such high vibes because this first episode, Matt, I'm close. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm very close to agreeing with you and saying the first episode was the best episode of TV this show has ever done. And then here's where, as a show watcher only, it really suddenly felt back to, oh boy, we're in some of the troubles with this show. Because I only went 7 out of 10 triple M's.
Triple M's?
Well, I thought you guys had read the books. We know that that's Mother Monster Mash. So Elayne's mom shows up. And we do have to take a bit of time to slow down and meet new characters like Elayne's mother, her paramour, her two brothers. The mom's paramour, her two brothers, the mom's advisor. Like, we really have to go through some stuff to where it's like, okay, here's the problem of the season. It's almost, to me, I haven't read the books, but I'm going to go ahead and make some predictions. One of Elayne's brothers is going to be a dark friend and naughty. If I had to guess, I bet it's probably the nice one's probably the dark friend and not
Which one is the nice one?
The nice one. Neither.
The one that people
nice.
don't talk about behind his back. Like, yeah, he's trouble. I think the mom's paramour, the mom's consort, is trouble. I think he's a dark friend. The show has me thinking everybody's a dark friend. Min, now this is as a show watcher only, Min sold out our heroes last season. Somehow she's back on the hero side. That didn't make any sense to me. She's walking around like she's wearing a coat off the rack from Macy's. I wasn't sure about the costumes. But then the big thing that drove me crazy is that Perrin, this whole time, to be honest, almost every character, but Perrin's like, man, I want to go home to the Two Rivers. I want to go home to the Two Rivers. The first shot we see of him in the Two Rivers, he's walking through town. There are people everywhere. Not a single person goes, oh, hey, Perrin, how you doing? Like, this is where he wants to go back to. He's walking through town with Loyal and 2 Aiel women, and yet everybody in town should have been staring at, wait, look at this.
And people are staring at him. They're just afraid to say anything.
Oh boy. Why didn't somebody go, hey, White Cloaks, there he is? I mean, he was not conspicuous at all. It felt very TV, this episode. So once again, I'm a little rough. Hopefully you guys loved it.
I did. So Priscilla, let's hear what you had to say about it.
Oh, I gave a 9.
Whoa.
Triple B.
Triple B's.
Triple B's?
Yeah, so it's a bloody bath, baby. So more gays. This is something, I don't know, we are going to talk about the book to TV later on, but we can go forward just to say that there are things that are not shown in the books. There are maybe some hints here and there, or like 2 characters talking, like at some point about something that happened in the past. But like the way they started the episode, they started on a really high note. Like, I really like that they established exactly the type of people these people are, like Elayne and Morghese, and as I predicted, Morghese was indeed pregnant, and she was pregnant with Elayne. So this was a flashback, and I wasn't expecting to be shown what we showed there, like that she is quite ruthless when she has to be. Like, the way she sold it is like, I'm being ruthless here because I'm protecting my child. But I don't buy it in the way the character was presented. I don't buy it at all, that it was just to defend the child. I think and the way they were presenting their arrival, and the way Elida was behaving, the way Morghese was behaving, it's almost as if they have an agenda there to take over the tower since the beginning, or at least they have that on the back of their minds. Morghese too, and that Morghese is either okay with it or actively like helping. And this, I like it very much. I like it very much because you don't like where I am in the books. You just get the feeling that Morghese was extremely popular, and then she started dropping popularity after she got after she got on with Lord Gabriel, and that kinds of like there is an explanation behind, but basically like she was Elaida was her advisor for many years, so you had the feeling that Morghese was kind of like a good person that might sometimes have bad advice being given to her, and then she just does it. But no, like here they are selling the idea. No, actually, she's like she has a mind of her own. She's doing things on her own too. She has like some thoughts and wants. And Elayne, I really like the dynamic with Elayne. I I like it how they presented everything, but like as the episode kept going, kept progressing, we had more information dumped after another, and that slowed things down for me. And it picked up in the end when they arrive at the Aiel Waste. I really, really liked the way that the prophecies were presented about Rand. Like the way Aviendha sees it, the way Bear, that's her name, right? Yep. The way Bear sees it, I really, really like it. I really like it because you can see the struggle. You can see exactly why they struggle, and like because Aviendha is young and she is a little bit more like she already doesn't like Rand also, and like I this is the prophecy. I know it's the prophecy, but I don't have to like it. She's like that. And when Bear comes, it's almost like she's already like embraced it. She already accepted that is the destiny of her people. And the way she presents it is not even grandiose or anything. It's just like, yes, let's do this. That's it. And I really, really like it. I thought it was really refreshing because especially when you're speaking about fantasy, there is a tendency of making things really big, really epic. Everything is wow. And oh my God, another prophecy. And no, they are living this. So it felt real to me and I really like it. But it's a 9.
All right.
Just because of that.
Bubba wants the big fantasy stuff every other scene, by the way.
Yes.
I gave it, I thought I was going to beat everybody's ratings this week because I'm just so enthusiastic about it. But I have the exact same rating as you, Priscilla. Except I added another initial to my rating. But for the exact same reasons, basically, I gave it a 9 out of 10, what I like to call triple S's.
Triple S's?
Triple S's.
Yeah, that stands for psychotic circus songs, as in the theme for Morghese. And no, don't do the math on that, Bubba. The theme for Morghese and Elaida, they all sounded like just crazy circus songs. I loved it. Lauren, good job, sir. But really, for the same reasons, I mean, come on. Anybody who can manage to forgive and completely destroy their enemies, all within the clasp of a single sentence, all just within that space, is my kind of gal. I'm ready for Morghese to rule my kingdom anytime. Gawain is just a blank stare, which is kind of the way it is in the books. Khalad is also a blank stare, but has a little bit more smarts to him, which is also like in the books. I think that this is just wonderfully done again, and most of all, and this is a reason that nobody's brought up, but it seems like we've gotten into 2 episodes of this television show, and so far there's no big mystery to solve. Maybe Amazon stopped sending notes because I'm so tired of that distracting good storytelling. If you have feedback for us regarding our opinions about any of these episodes, please reach out to me. The only social media I'm on now is Blue Sky. So Matthew Murdoch, 2 T's, MUR. on bluesky.bsky.social if you want the full URL spelling. Or you can send emails to me, mattsaudioblog@gmail.com. That's still open. For Bubba, the word double, the letters PHQ is where you can find all of the Double P Media stuff. Anytime they put something out, and really everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Just the word double, the letters PHQ. And the YouTube channel is Double P Media. Please subscribe. He's only like a couple hundred people away from getting 10,000 subscribers. And as soon as he does, he's going to do an a cappella song for you. I made him promise that the last time I did a podcast with him. So he's going to do it. We have to pick the theme. Maybe you should put a poll up on which theme you do of all the shows that you cover. What do you think? And you can always, of course, follow and watch Priscilla's reviews, which are in Portuguese, if you're of the international flair, or you can just turn on the Google Translate like I do. We're going to do a couple of different kind of segments this time around because I'm just, phoning it in this year anyway. And Take Your Fifth is what we're going to call it. This is an Aiel thing. It's we're going to take our share of the episode describing our favorite scene. It's not a game or anything. We're just going to tell you what our favorite scene out of these 2 episodes was. So, Priscilla, let's start with you. What was your favorite scene or situation, I suppose?
Yeah, so episode 1, since I'm a big fan of interactions between human beings, I really like to get the gang together, and I was hoping that it would be like this, that we would get like this last hurrah before they went into their separate ways, and that's exactly what I got. And I really liked Matt and Perrin teasing Rand. Rand can be like the Dragon Reborn, but to everybody else, but to them, it's just the boy that they grew up with in the 2 rivers. So they teased him, and actually Rand started bragging about lanfear, which is very hysterical in the context. And episode 2, I really like Matt being annoyed by Elayne's brothers because it was very relatable. Like, one is literally a step away from being a red pill crazy. Yes. Yeah, he's taking the red pill in about, I don't know, 2 episodes, and the other is so it's so bland, and they are there like, just because they are princes and they have like good physiques, they are getting on, and Matt cannot handle that anymore. And I'm with Matt 100%. I don't understand. I'm with you, Matt. You're much better than they are. And yeah, it should have been you, Matt, not them.
Bubba, go ahead.
Matt, I need you to go next. I'm still trying to get this 5th thing down from the Aiel.
Okay, well, I just took the 2 episodes and I took a 5th of the episode, which was the Bubbles of Evil. Okay. Took up a good 5th of the episode, and that's my pick. Again, I've already said a lot about it that I was going to say, but the situations are very similar. They play out a little differently, but the situations are very similar. The location is different. The people who Rand, Perrin, and Matt are with is different. And there was a couple of extra things added. But to get the essence of that little snippet from book 3 of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan from The Dragon Reborn, or is it the book 4? Is it book 3 or book 4, Priscilla? Now I'm blanking.
3. I think it's 3.
Is it 3? So it's before. Yeah, it was. They kind of leave right at the beginning of book 4, I suppose. So anyway, despite all that, it worked perfectly for me. I have no complaints about the way it was adapted. I love the way it was adapted to the situation where they can put different people in the places that they're supposed to be, because we're lacking a couple of other characters, especially the whole bit with the axe, the way that Loyal saves Chiad. Yeah, that's the way you get Bane and Chiad there instead of the other way that you get them there. So perfect. It all worked for me. Bubba, how about you?
Okay, well, once again, I'm the Aiel are too new to me, a show watcher, for me to really understand what taking the fifth means. So you mentioned your favorite couple of scenes in the episode, and obviously I'm very basic. My favorite scene was the opening scene of episode 1, the one they released early, that battle in the tower. I thought was incredible, but instead I'll go a different way and say, like we used to talk about on all these podcasts, the best couple, the couple that were meant for each other. And to me, that couple is obviously, I hope I pronounce this character's name correctly, Naomi, and every item in the 13th depository. Those were the perfect couples. Those two, she longs for those like anybody longs for true love. And she was united with them. So her and everything she stole, to me, they're the perfect couple.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's an excellent coupling. That's much better than any of the Tricon brothers and whoever they were with. So thank you
Yeah,
very much for
I
doing that.
really like that. Like she gave this demented look, right? It was very
Oh
good. Like,
yeah.
She's
Yeah,
got,
I mean,
well, she's like, I got some toys now. That's
yeah,
exactly how she
not
was.
only should everybody in Tar Valon hide from her, but Randy Newman should too. I mean, this is serious.
All right, folks. We've given our favorite scenes. Now let's talk about everything a little more in depth. Although, once again, we've got so many topics here that we're going to have to just take a one and run down the gamut on each one. So, Priscilla, I'm going to let you spin the wheel here, but
oh no, I have to ask anybody else because I don't. My eyes, they're too small. The
okay.
wheel
Well,
is small, but my
okay.
eyes are
Well,
smaller.
the four
I
spaces
cannot
on the
see
wheel in
anything.
general are Tarvalon. This is a CW show. Aiel things and Teleron Riyadh things. And the fourth topic is Hello, Two Rivers. So,
Can I jump in? I do think we should start with Tar Valon. I'm not just,
Mhm.
I am very basic, but that was a way to open a season to get me excited. I thought they did a great job. I think what's funny is so much of this ties together. You said another topic on the wheel was this as a CW show. You meet some of these new Black Aja, like Jaine. Is that how I'm pronouncing that correctly? She's got to be on a CW show. She is a Vampire Diary waiting to happen. This was a great opening, and it was a complete. What's funny is I'm a show watcher. I don't know anything, but even I, watching this wonderful opening battle, I was sitting there thinking, Swan, what are you doing? Get as many people into this room as possible. You want as many people in there as possible. And why didn't she? This was a miscalculation on her part. She needed all the support she could have. And in the end, I mean, it felt like, did anybody do the math? How many people in that room were helping Leandrin before they even burst out of the room? It felt, what, at least 4 other people? Wow.
they needed a minimum of 11 sitters. I think they had a little more than that, but
Is
I'm not
that 4
sure.
of 11 were evil? Black Aja? Man,
Yeah, and that's where Swan
maybe more.
miscalculated.
I
She
lost
totally
almost.
equated the Reds with the Black Aja just
Mm,
because Leandrin was there.
mm,
And no, no, no. That also the thing that makes that so scary is how infiltrated it was.
yes.
That there were that many sitters. That's not talking about just the sisters of the general
Yeah, sitters.
population,
Mhm.
but just out of the sitters, that high a concentration was Black Aja. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it's very nice because this miscalculation was so big that she gets so paranoid. Then the next episode, she's like, I cannot trust anybody, and then she goes for Nynaeve and Elayne, like, and Nynaeve was like, dude, I cannot even channel. What are you talking about? Yeah, but you're not Black Aja.
Yeah, can I say that kind of Nynaeve has been so powerful to see her reduced to nothing. That was, incredible.
It
Incredible.
was. Someone else who got reduced to nothing was Joya. Bubba,
Mm.
I'm sorry if I spoiled you. I know when we were talking about season 2, and I kept pointing out that bald-headed sister and watch out for her. That's Joya. And I knew she was going to be a Black Aja because she has a storyline in the books. And we'll probably see a little more of her now that she's been captured again. Although,
do you think? I think she's
I don't think
going to
she's.
be.
Yeah, were
I think
people
she,
actually captured?
Yeah, I think she was captured in
Okay.
episode 1, and I think we'll see a little
yeah,
more of
but
her.
we just seen episode 3.
Yeah, so let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think you'll see her a little bit more, and I honestly think, Priscilla, that you'll see her a little bit after that too. She's been stilled, but I don't think she's been killed. At any rate, Naomi, Bubba, you brought it up. I mean, that was actually the mission focus, right? The whole thing in the main hall was a distraction so that Naomi could get the stuff, because that was the mission. When they're all coming out afterward, after the explosion, what's the first thing that Leandrin says to Naomi? Did you get it? And she says, yes. And everything else I can carry or could carry. So that was the actual mission. And Naomi was the perfect plant. I just thought that was so fantastic. And it was unfortunate that Alanna lost one of her warders. They had a new actor come in, which is even more unfortunate because they had a new actor to play Ivan, simply he was the one that was with them in season 2 that kind of challenged Lan in a lot of ways. And you got to know him a little bit there, but here it's just like, but I think it sets up a lot of things for Alanna as well. Some book stuff, some TV stuff. So love that.
Can I ask you guys a question, since
sure.
I don't know? They did, you've got to make each of these evil Black Aja unique. And so we have Naomi with her, grubby little fingers stealing everything. And then you've got, am I pronouncing it correct? Jain?
I couldn't tell you. Everybody's had trouble pronouncing that name. I'll just say Jean.
Okay, Jean, sure.
Yeah.
Now, Jean, what color Aja was she? I don't happen to remember.
It was a green, I think.
She was a green. She was a
Okay.
green. There was a green, there was a yellow, there was a gray.
Terrible. Evil.
There was a
red,
blue in the hall.
Blue, yeah.
Evil.
Yeah. And a white. And the white's
And
the
a
one that got her
brown.
head bashed in.
Yeah.
And was there a brown also? Okay.
No, Naomi is a brown, right?
Well, Naomi's the brown, yeah.
Oh my God, terrible. Every color bad.
Every color bad. White good.
The white Aja were bad too. Although, come on, what's going on here? Edit.
All spectrums equally bad.
Equally bad.
Yes.
Yeah, homophobic. Yeah.
Okay. What else about the shredding do we want to say before we move on?
I think we should move on. It was just 12 minutes.
Well, how about this? Let me ask you this. It did feel a bit weird that Moiraine wasn't there. Like, what's going on?
Well, she got banned from the tower in season 1.
The tower. Remember that. She can go
like,
next
a lot
to the
has
tower,
happened. Swan, you made a mistake not allowing Moiraine in the tower.
Swan
and she saved your bacon anyway,
mistakes.
Swan.
Swan made a lot of mistakes, and that's exactly the point.
Okay,
Like,
well, let's move on.
Well, but she kind of mea culpas about it to Elayne and Egwene and Nynaeve. She says when she sneaks in there, and Moiraine overhears it, that she made a mistake. She made a miscalculation there.
Look. I think there is a difference between you making a self-reflection, okay, and you are recognizing that you committed a mistake to convince someone to help you.
Yeah. Well, and I love that Egwene just says, yeah, sure, I'll come back if I go through the arches today. And she pulls the ultimate fast one, but we'll get to that in a minute. Bubbles of Evil is the second item up here, and I know I've already talked a lot about this. Is there anybody else who wants to say anything about the Bubbles of Evil?
Let me jump in, and this is a silly thing that I know people always talk about. I watched this first episode in the fan event, the sneak preview, and because of that, I had to watch it on my computer. And during this scene, you guys are calling Bubbles of Evil. I could not see anything. The screen was too dark. My computer screen was a black mess. I had no idea what was happening. The episodes get released. in our time frame yesterday, and I watch them and I'm like, oh, that's what was happening. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I know if anybody else had this issues, maybe watch it on a TV rather than a computer, because I cannot make out anything. Having seen it now that on my TV, what horror. This is a horror show. And we're always talking about like, ooh, the Forsaken have found us. The Forsaken have found us. How are you going to hide from the Forsaken? Their powers are too powerful. You want your villains to be, a challenge because your heroes have to defeat a great challenge. How are heroes going to defeat this? This is bad news.
Speaking of so hard to see, so the visual effects company decided to challenge everybody to say the gray man's in a lot of scenes way before he shows up to stab Nynaeve.
Whoa, really?
Did you see it?
Know that.
I found him
I
in
didn't
one.
notice.
I only found him in one, and that was one when Rand and everybody was talking actually about the Black Aja. You can see him across the roadway out the window.
Wow.
He's standing, I think in a doorway or in a window. I can't remember now which, but that was the only time I saw him. I think they're supposed to be 2 or 3 times, but I missed the other ones. Did anybody catch any other ones?
Priscilla, did you catch it?
Let's remember that I watched on a laptop.
Oh, no.
Oh. So
and
you saw pixels and you're not sure if they were a gray man or not, right?
And I have eyes, very small eyes. Yeah, no, but I think I saw the one that Matt saw, actually.
Yeah.
But
that one was the most obvious one. That's why I managed to get it, I'm pretty sure. But the answers are out there, folks. Just check your social media, #Wheel of Time or #GrayMan. I'm sure you'll find out all the places that they've seen him before the big appearance.
For everybody watching this video on YouTube, we've hidden the gray man throughout it. So you have to watch the whole thing to see if you can find him.
Yeah. Did you see it? Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's move on then, because we've already. Here's the thing, though.
I loved that.
How did you? Bubba, let me ask you this.
I loved it was Lanfear's plan.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you about. Is how do we feel about the fact that Moiraine is so willing to cooperate, and she, of course, didn't want to do anything and didn't want Lan to do anything because it was the plan. Those kids were all in peril.
Lan was aware. Like he even says like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. But he wanted to go first. He wanted to go before she was going to let him go, and then finally he just said, "Screw you. This sounds more serious than it's supposed to be."
But it was more serious than it was supposed to be because of Moghedien, right?
Yeah, Moghedien did her. She was the one who added the gray man into the mix, which is why Lanfear got so fearful about it after they mentioned that, because Lanfear's like, "Oh, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That I know that's Moghedien." And she's the only one who can evidently create a gray man, which, man, was that a creepy scene. Seeing her create that gray man at the end of the episode. Wow.
Yeah.
Leia Costa, bravo. You did it to me again. Just those short little bursts at the end of an episode I am fantastic with. Moiraine, control your kids. And this might actually fold into the CW stuff.
Sure.
In a way. But, Rand's reading all these prophecies. He wants to go to Tyr. And again, I'll say too bad, Bubba, because there's all of book 3 is about the journey to Tyr, and what happens there, which is why you can't read it yet, because I don't know that this show isn't going to go back and do it after, he does this thing where he's trying to get an Aiel army, because that's what Elayne told him to do. Get your Aiel army and then go to Tyr. So is the show going to do that? I don't know. Is the show going to go ahead and skip ahead? There were a couple of things in a couple of episodes that I was like, okay, so they're setting up book 6 stuff for next season, maybe even book 7 stuff. And I'm like, I can't talk about any of that here. Anyway, so Rand being Rand, but I haven't really bashed him yet.
Yeah, look how long in the podcast it's been.
Well, we're way in, and I still can't bash him. Actually, he raises some good questions, about the vagueness, about whether it might be a trap. It's a trap. All of that stuff, I thought was, God forbid, level-headed thinking. So kudos to Rand for that. That scene between him and Moiraine was pretty wild. It seemed almost a little bit too, you need to do this. No. Well, what are you going to do? No, you're not going to tell me what to do. That's the way I would sum up that scene if I was telling somebody, if I was describing it to somebody. Anybody have any thoughts about that stuff, about why Rand makes the decision he does? Did you find the prophecies fascinating in any way, Bubba?
I actually found the one in episode 2 more exciting. The Aiel one.
All right. I did too. But then again, I've read all the books. Anything else to add there, Priscilla, or do we move on to I don't know, Loyal, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm not that far away, but so far I'm okay with the Aiel. Like, I know the fandom has, like, they truly like them as a culture, and like but I'm okay with it. I'm not extremely fond of it, but I am getting very like the TV show is making a good point in showing them and how they act, and it suddenly became real to me, because like when I'm reading the books, I'm not really good in imagining, like visually imagining people or like scenarios or things. But I really like how they translated the people, the IU people, to the TV series. And I like Aviendha, for instance, like the season 2, she was introduced, but it was just that, an introduction. And now I feel like we are 3 episodes in, and I really feel like I know her. Everything that should be working is working, and the things that they are not working entirely. It's not that they are bad, it's just that they needed a little bit tweaking here and there. So it's yeah, I'm really enjoying the IU so far.
Excellent. Just to run a couple of other things down, just about general happenings in Tarwal. And I loved Loyal's attitude. And you gotta have a good breakfast, man. That's the most important meal of the day. And I loved how Bane and Chiad were into that too. Egwene, let's talk about Egwene just kind of in general here. This poor traumatized girl, and it has affected her whole worldview in a lot of ways. You know, she's very anti establishment, order, rules, because Shan took it to the absolute extreme for her. And it's understandable. It's perfectly understandable. Is it, I'm going to ask the question, and you guys are going to laugh at me or sneer at me. Is it reckless of Egwene to think this way?
How do you mean?
To think that no amount of authority should be acknowledged. She goes to the tower, says, I'm going to take the test. She takes the test. She comes back. She gets the ring. She says, I'm out of here. You can't hold me anymore. My job is to protect Rand. But if she is someone who really wants to protect Rand, shouldn't she be her best Aes Sedai self before she does?
But you already answered your question. Like, she's a traumatized person at this point. If she goes back to the tower, she goes back to like a sense of order and authority that she maybe in the TV series, she's not prepared. So I will stick by my man kind of mentality. I have to be with Rand. That is the most important thing that I have to do. And they are back together, but they are not together. So she's like in this awful in-between place where she is with Rand, but she's kind of not with Rand. She isn't accepted, but she's not at the White Tower. So what is Egwene? She is having this crisis in her life that she doesn't know who she is, and that's why she's doing these things that don't actually make sense to who she is, because she doesn't know at this point.
Can I jump in on a completely different thing?
No. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I was just going to say, this is a TV thing, show thing. We saw Nynaeve's journey through the arches, and I thought that was fascinating. That was a highlight of season 2. And for me, as a non-book reader, it's almost a bit heartbreaking that we can't spend that time. In some ways, I don't want the show to do it, but I also want the show to do it. I'm torn that I'm not seeing Egwene's trip through the Arches. I'm worried I'm not going to see Elayne's full journey through the Arches. And that's a bit sad. I understand that, hey, it can become repetitive. Here's somebody through the Arches, here's somebody through the Arches. But I'm kind of upset that we didn't really see them at all. We saw one great scene of insane Rand, and Egwene is the Amerlin seat with her two buddies by her horseback side. But I almost wanted more. So I just wanted to say that.
But just to say something, like you said yourself that it would be repetitive.
It might be, yeah.
And I find that very smart of them to show the main thing in the Egwene, but not the whole thing, because later on we are going to see more of trips to would have been worlds and like what might happen and what might not happen. So it would like be basically, if they would go for Egwene, the whole Egwene episode there and the whole Elayne episode there, that will be like more than half of the series in this kind of thing.
No, agreed. No, Bubba, I agree with you in the fact that, you know, I wish this show had the time to give us those kind of moments. The show just simply doesn't have the time anymore.
Not at all.
Do you think about this? We're 3 seasons in, and they're going to cover most of the 4th book, maybe part of the 5th, and they might still have to go back and cover part of the 3rd book.
No.
So when you've got 14, 15 books, you need to be covering 2 a season if you're just going to get a 6-season run, you know, or more, you know, if 7-season run, you hope to get 2 books in, and the stuff is just so dense. I don't think there's any way they can do it. So I'm watching as we go along, especially this season, what it looks like they can cut. And I think I've got one, but that's for the spoiler section, folks.
All right.
Anyway, I'm with you. I would love to see all 3 tests of Egwene. I'd love a whole episode dedicated to that, the same way that it was Nynaeve. I'd love to have a whole episode dedicated to that with Elayne, the same way it was Nynaeve. And it wouldn't be repetitive to me because they're tailored to each character, you know. So it's something that would be fabulous. But unfortunately, the show's already not getting long enough run times, even though these episodes did run longer than any prior ones, and they're certainly not getting enough episodes a season to be able to cover this book adequately to satisfy a book reader like me, or somebody who is just a TV show watcher and says, "Oh, I really love that stuff. I wish we had time to see more of that," like you. Let's talk about Elayne's family. By the way, you know, all those apples. This girl can make hooch in her bathtub. So you can only imagine what she can do with those apples. And yet she can pound them down, baby. She knows how to drink. She even has drinks with Lord Gabriel later on in the 2nd episode. This girl knows how to drink. And evidently so does Lord Gabriel. But let's talk about first the person who is behind, who clearly told Morgase she had to stab a little girl in the cold open of episode 2. That was all Elida's idea, because Elida is one of these people who just feels like she has a lot of things going on in her head. Let's just put it like that for now. I love that she's just kind of playing cool at first, you know. Boy, the way Swan greeted her when she came in, that should have told you what we're supposed to feel about Elida right there. But she's still sniffing around for Morgase. Love that. Anybody have any thoughts about? Obviously, Shore is an amazing actress. So
yes, been
any
amazing in
Elida
a million things. You know, even if she's not with the Shadow, not a dark friend, she's just somebody who's going to make everybody's life miserable. Step to the side.
That's one of the things about that character, Bubba, that I absolutely love and hate is that she never, ever admits to being wrong about anything.
Oh, well, then I can relate to her. Okay.
I was going to say, she's a person right after your own heart. and it makes for some very interesting situations in the future.
Let me
Remember?
let me ask you this.
So
In the
yeah,
book,
it's amazing.
has Elida been smoking 4 packs a day to get that deep voice? I think we should do this, my queen. I mean, wow. Wow.
No, but that's her voice, and she's
That's a
getting
great
like
voice, isn't it?
sure. She's in the 70s. She's in her 70s, right? She's
Dang.
kind of So
Shora will always be 45 to me.
All right. Well, let's get to this guy that everybody hates, Lord Gabriel.
Nobody
let me
hates
just say this, because I think I can sum all this up
Terrible.
real quick. Not only is Elida staying behind at the end of
Right,
episode 2,
not good.
but also Tweedledee Trakand and Tweedledum Trakand, the 2 double T's, are coming along as what they're going to stay behind and train as warders too.
No, brother.
So yeah. So as
Literally.
long as Matt's there, he's going to have a couple of noisy roommates or sweet mates, I guess. Pretty bad. So now, Bubba,
Yeah.
you want to talk about this Lord Gabriel dude?
No, I don't want to talk about him. He's evil. He's obviously evil. Get rid of him. Next topic.
Here's the thing that I just found fascinating is how the second he walks into the room, every woman's face lights up like they've just seen the love of their life. Crazy. Swan, all cool and calm and collected when Galad and Gawain walk in, and then she's like, Lord Gabriel. And even Leanne, Lord Gabriel. Why do you think that is?
Why indeed?
I mean, Priscilla, is he that good looking?
No.
So there you go. What's going on there? Bubba, I think you're right. I think the dude's evil. We'll see.
Next. Yeah, get to hell with him. Let's go to the mean mama who gets her hair done in the exact same color as her daughter, and that's Queen Morghese.
Oh.
You liked her, Bubba?
Well, I
You
like
liked
that
her?
I like that she doesn't discriminate. I've got to kill these adults, kill them. Oh wait, this one's a child. I won't discriminate. Kill the kid too.
She is very controlling. She's very strategic.
Sure.
And Elayne even compliments her mom on being that way. And when Elayne says, I'm going to stay behind, she says, not because, I'm just trying to spite you, but because you're so good at what you do, I need to find what I'm good at, that I'm good at what I do before I become queen. To be the first Aes Sedai queen. I mean, that's more or less what she says at the end.
Isn't that what it really is, though? It's a full Aes Sedai.
Full Aes Sedai. Well, I mean, you saw Morghese was going to just arrange for her to get a ring, whether she went through the arches or not. It was
like Beyonce.
She called it a ceremonial great ring, is what she called it, a ceremonial great ring, not an earned great ring. So I love that. Yeah. I love the way Elayne stood up to her too. So I thought that was great.
I didn't get that Elayne was standing up. She was just like
Morghese wanted her to come home. She said, I'm not coming home. That's standing up.
No, she massaged Morghese's ego and said, I just have to be as good as you, and I cannot do that.
Oh, we're talking semantics here. She opposed Morghese.
No, she convinced her mother to let her be. It's not like, mother, you can take me out of the line of succession, but I will stay here. This would be a challenge, right? This would be like challenging her mother, but she didn't challenge her mother. She was like, no, mama, you don't understand. I want to be as good as you are. You're so ruthless. I want to be so ruthless too.
But I'm going to do it with the one power instead.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So Elayne tried the crowd on, which I thought was going to be part of an accepted test. And no, it wasn't. Just so that she could sit down and drink. This girl drinks, man. I mean, she can drink. She's out drinking Matt. She's out drinking Loyal.
Are you trying to make me love her more? Enough, Matt. Get over the thing.
Yeah. Elayne urging Rand to befriend the Aiel. We already talked about that. Swan recruiting Elayne and Nynaeve to find the Black Aja because she can't trust anybody else.
She's watched the show. She knows you can't trust anybody. Good work, Swan. You finally did something right.
And what she loves is when Nynaeve says, "How do we know if we can trust you?" She's like, "That's exactly what I need. I need you to not trust anybody, just yourselves. Do your thing, and we'll figure out what to do about it as soon as you figure it out." And how far do they get in episode 2? Do they really get anywhere on
that's
that?
it. Literally, they meet with her and that's it.
Yeah. Matt with his memory problems, hearing people die over and over again, that sounds really horrible. But then Swan, I love that. That was so humorous.
Yes, she
and
puts
then very
this
touching.
buffoon.
Also.
She puts this buffoon in his place. Oh my God. She's like, "You're not a fool. You're not gonna have had somebody paint your picture holding the horn and bragged about throwing the horn and walked around with your robes open wide." I mean, he's done a lot of dumb things, this Matt. So he's got to wise up.
Yeah, she's got Matt right where she wants him, and right to the point where it's like, "You want me to keep that for you? We can keep it safe, and then maybe nobody will want to kill you." So Bubba, the Horn of Valor, is now in the hands of the Tower. Good job.
I really like it. I'm really liking Matt and Min. I'm really enjoying them.
But hold on, then you tell me, Priscilla, why in the world would Matt even speak to Min after the stuff she pulled last season? He shouldn't even talk to her.
Bubba,
stab her in the heart.
It's called redemption arc.
You know what? Fool me once, I stab you in the heart.
It's
That's what Matt should be
redemption. Min is on full redemption.
Fool me twice, you're a zombie, and you should be stabbed again.
Please.
And Matt is also in full redemption.
I mean, you can't be in redemption when you're buying white blazers at Macy's.
This is what NFL free agency is. It's not about what kind of a person you are. It's about the skill you got. And right now, Swan needs the skill that, and Perrin needs the skill that Min has. That's the only reason. Can you trust her, though?
Can you trust anything she tells you about the future or about?
No, but Swan doesn't trust anybody at this point.
Listen. We need Swan needs to say more gays. You want to help me out? Give Min the child treatment.
That's awful. That's awful.
You are so anti-Min today.
Hold on. She was working with a Forsaken. Oh, and I'm the bad guy?
Listen, Rand is sleeping with one.
But did you hear what Min mined out for them? She told them another battle is coming. They were like, "Oh, we don't care of what you saw in the past of Aes Sedai dying and everything." She says, "No, something else is coming. I don't know if it's 1 year, if it's 10 years, if it's tomorrow. I don't know, but I just know that I see dead faces over some of these Aes Sedai." So what does that mean?
Elayne.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, how about this? Swan should have asked Min, well, what book does that happen in?
I say Min is right.
Oh, wow.
She needs to redeem herself, and that's what she's doing. She's working on her redemption, and she's trying to be a good friend to Matt, and trying to apologize. And I think she's on the right track.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is a failed
that's
apology
exactly what a
Min,
black Aja would say, Priscilla.
A failed apology from Matt that he won't accept actually makes Min look more right.
That's why it's called a redemption arc. It's just not saying, I'm sorry, boo, I won't be doing this again. No, it's a redemption arc. So it has like ups and downs, it will be a whole thing. She will try to prove herself. Probably she will put her life in danger.
Sounds like something for a CW show.
A redemption arc. I'm throwing her out of the arc, overboard.
Yeah.
That sounds like something from a CW show. So let's talk about it. Lan, put a ring on it, baby. Lan finally got out Mama's ring, the queen ring, gave it to Nynaeve. Where's she gonna put that thing? She's already got one ring here. She just gonna wear it around her neck, maybe. That could be it. And I wonder how Moiraine feels about that.
I don't think Moiraine feels anything at this
Right. She's
point.
got Swan. She doesn't need this land guy.
That's true.
No, I think Moiraine is a little bit like I wouldn't say depressed, but Nynaeve is she sounds depressed, and Moiraine is definitely very worried about Rand to even be able to focus on anything else at this point.
Oh,
Fair
yeah.
enough. Yeah. I mean, we've already talked about it. I love it. I know a lot of you folks out there who like to be trolls did not love it. Just for what it was. But Aviendha is all for me. I'm all for that. To me, that subtext is all over the books once they start hanging out together. And if you can't take it just being realized, tough on you. Sorry, it's not going to change.
Whoa.
And Priscilla, this is another thing. Just like you thought, well, see, Rafe brought out that there was something about Perrin towards Egwene. And you and I have both read that subcontext in the books between Elayne and Aviendha, or at least I know I have. I think you're starting to get there if you aren't there already. So
no, I totally got it.
Yeah. So I mean, why not just bring it out in the open? That's kind of Rafe's way.
It's like the way that Aviendha speaks about Elayne is like they wanted to be sister Y. I don't know what it's called. First sisters.
Yeah. First sister.
And we have examples in the books where I am of first sisters and what and how this relationship come to be, that the two women they get close, they get this friendship going, and then
they
like,
find a sperm donor.
and then they find another guy and it's like, yeah, if you want to marry me, know that you have to marry her too. So that's exactly what like I'm getting it with Aviendha. Aviendha is the way she talks about Elayne in the books is like, I want to share a husband with this woman.
Yeah. On the other hand, there are some things about Aiel culture that I find a little troublesome. I do not like Maiden's Kiss. I think that
come on.
No, that was the way it's done in the books. That was one of Jordan's mistakes, in my opinion. The way it was done in the books, they're doing a little better on the show, but it still feels a little rapey to me. That's just me.
Okay. Wait. Maiden's Kiss is the thing in the show where there was like a
they were pointing the spears
up
at Matt's neck. Yeah,
and,
and then he ended up with all those scars.
And if
when
if
he was
it's a bad
talking to
kiss,
Nynaeve.
you get a little.
If your kiss is good,
the
spears go back. If the kiss is no good, the spears go forward.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, it's a quick way to know. You always want to know. You can never tell.
As you're bleeding out on the floor?
Right.
I think
it's a good way to go.
I mean, they live in the Aiel ways. There are not that many ways of entertaining themselves.
Right.
In the sense, so, and they are already like, you know, they already, as a people.
Right, they don't have TV. This is the version of, hey, you get a rose, you don't get a rose. It's the same thing.
Yeah, as a people, they are already a little bit backwards, you know, like, so there you go.
Okay. Well, somebody who ought to get every signal that no spear should be allowed at all is Rand. As far as Egwene goes. And hey, watch me turn this around.
Okay.
He's actually been kind of respectful about it. It's not like he's been
pushing. Of course.
So he's been decent about it.
Egwene
but at the same time, I feel like he's flirting with the Aiel when they're following him around. I feel like that he's bragging about lanfear. Just
bragging.
Yeah, look.
Oh, did you see that smirk when they asked him and he started talking about Selene? That was bragging.
Oh, listen, it ain't bragging if it's true.
They are both in a like the Rand and Egwene relationship at this point. Like they are both together, but they are not together. So Rand, it's hard. You know, Rand is trying to be respectful.
That's the other thing. He's spending time in Teleron Riyadh with lanfear.
I was going to say, for Rand, being respectful means I'm not going to touch her because I'm in the dream world with another girl that I really like. And to Egwene is like, I'm going to help Rand, and in her mind, yeah,
Bubba's had enough.
I'm just sticking by Rand because I'm scared of everything at this point.
I think so too. And that's tough because lanfear, and I hear that this is a bit different from the books. To me, she is one of the most fascinating characters. It's not morally gray. It's like black, but occasionally helping us do what we want to do. She's on the side of the shadow, but sometimes her desires line up with what our heroes want. And I think this is a fascinating character. And in the end, I think she needs to go up. Lanfear needs to go up, not up against Egwene, but somebody who is a challenge for her, like the other Forsaken.
Oh, yeah, true.
Okay, so the Aiel, what's funny is they were introduced in season 2, and as a show watcher, it's like, okay, here's our new party. But if you don't look at maps, and the show doesn't ever seemingly want to show maps, they're always talking about the Aiel waste, and like you don't really understand until you look at a map. I guess the Amazon Prime has the in-depth little option you can go to at the bottom, and so like, okay, they're from the other side of the spine of the world, and they're a whole lot of trouble. There's also a part of me though that would think that in the world of the show, Rand's mom was an Aiel warrior who obviously was causing a lot of trouble 20 years ago. And so the fact that they're still kind of marching around on this side of the spine of the world and not giving grief, people give them space. Maybe the White Cloaks are all right. You lock them all up so they don't cause any more trouble.
What I find, I'm thinking that, like, as an adaptation, what the show is doing right now is pretty wise, because it keeps, like, each episode it keeps opening up, right?
Yeah.
And so episode 1, we can see that Aviendha does not like Rand, and we don't understand exactly why.
Yeah.
And then in the episode 2, she explains a little bit why and what the prophecy is for the Aiel and how she feels about it. So you opening up, and also in episode 2, you're going to see like Elayne speaking with her mother, Morghese, okay, about how Morghese came into power, like how the wheel weaves, how the wheel is weaving. That basically what Elayne is saying, if it was not for one person disappearing, Morghese would never be Queen of Andor. So you're like expanding that. So in episode 3, you're going to see even more.
Well, let me ask you, I'm going to jump in and ask you about the Kara Karn prophecy. And let's in this imaginary scenario, Priscilla, you're an Aiel. The prophecy says, and I'm going to read it, hopefully I get it right. The Kara Karn shall spill out the blood of those who call themselves Aiel as water on sand, and break them as dried twigs. Yet a remnant of the Kara Karn shall save, and they shall live. To me, if I'm reading, okay, wait a minute, this Kara Karn is going to spill out my blood and break me like dried twigs, I wouldn't try to find him and bring him home. I'd be like, to hell with you. I'm taking one of these spears and stabbing you in the gut. So it's a wonderful prophecy. It's very fascinating that somebody would look, our whole lives we're looking for the person who's going to spill our blood and break us as dried twigs. And so I understand Aviendha's like dual nature, how she can be driven crazy by this car of corn.
Corn of corn. Corn of corn.
Kava corn.
Ah, very good. Sorry, Priscilla, I'm just going to interrupt here. There are so many things about the Aiel culture that are honor driven. That this prophecy is not necessarily a sad one for many of them, in the way that they are willing to lay down their lives. It's part of what they do anyway. It's what they're good at. And so it's one of those things where I think, just like very subtly in this episode, you learn something that is hilarious and fantastic in the books. When Aviendha says, she says, it almost was faster than me, but not quite faster than me. When she's talking about the rabbits, when she throws them on the ground, Aiel run really fast. They don't need horses because they've never had them.
It ain't bragging if it's true, right?
You're right, exactly. And there are so many passages in the books where some Aiel are outrunning men on horses, outrunning cavalry.
Whoa.
These kinds of things. So that was just a fantastic drop. And I won't tell you what the situations are, but it's fantastic the way that they're layering in things about the Aiel culture that I like. Not so cool about the things that disturb me. But.
And also, did you catch that, like, when Aviendha, she gets very angry? Who told them? Who told them? With Rand and Moiraine, and she gets very angry. And I took, like, in the books, like, she gets very angry about going back to the Aiel ways, but for another reason. And I think they are hinting there here, right? Because she gets very, like, she gets very angry, really, that they were discovered by this other Aiel. And just, I find it great that they are doing this. They're, like, putting the hints, like, one in episode 2, one in episode 1, then you have another 2 in episode 2, another 3 in episode 3, and, like, the questions that you might not have, they are already answered, because why the Karakan has to be Rand. It comes also from his mother and his father, like, the importance, like, that why they keep think that Rand is an Aiel in the first season, or in the so these questions are going to be answered. They are already answered if you pay attention to where they are communicating in these dialogues.
Right. And another thing that I love just about, as we kind of shift to Teleron Riyadh, is the fact that they've kept the effect consistent. Last season, we were told lanfear was a master of the world of dreams, and you have that kind of dissolving effect. We saw Egwene, when she was with Rinna, get discovered by Bear, because she also dissolves from underneath Rinna. Those will be key visual cues for us to know where we are, because I got a feeling there's going to be a couple episodes this season where it's going to be very hard to distinguish what's real and what's not.
No.
So that will help. Just keep that in mind, that kind of dissolving effect where everything kind of becomes little cubes and floats away. So love that they're setting all of that up. And then you're introduced to the one that told Egwene, "You do not belong here." That's Bear.
Yeah, in the dream. Yeah,
in the dream. And she's the one who calls. Aviendha had already called Rand out for the prophecy, and Bear says basically the same prophecy, but in a slightly different way. The gentleman, just so you know, because you'll get his name if you didn't get it this episode, I don't think, his name is Ruark. He's kind of that group's leader. And then the other female Aiel was Elayne. So just keep those names ready so that you won't be confused about who they are. Bubba doesn't care. Okay, so let's talk about the Two Rivers.
Again, Matt, you said the whole town kind of focused on them when they came in. For whatever reason, it didn't read that way to me. Maybe I was more focused on, hey, Perrin has been talking about for 2 seasons. I want to go back. I want to go back. He goes back. He doesn't say hi. Nobody says hi. It's like, yeah, welcome back, person who nobody wants back.
I still think people are looking at him and kind of making a choice to walk the other way.
They were looking at him and just keep walking. Yeah.
Let me say, I love the two. Are they called Bane and Chia? The two Aiel that are on this journey, because it seems so random that they're here. with Loyal and Perrin, but I actually kind of like it. This group needed a bit of spice, and those two are the spice that I think this storyline needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the Waygate update. And I love how they've done it, because when Moiraine channels, you don't get doors. But Loyal used the leaf key to open and close the gate when they first came out. And you could see him taking a leaf off or putting a leaf on. And those walls, that's the way I picture a Waygate in the books. So I loved that effect. But as soon as they come out, Perrin, of course, being part wolf now, or being a wolf brother, he smells the ash, because that's the way that Alana and Mascom came through. So that's why he smells the ash. And then there's two sets of footprints, and that's them. I love that Bane and Chiad are just so damn horny that they want Loyal to play. Even though I don't approve of the game that they want to play. If they just want to be horny with Loyal, I'm perfectly cool with that.
How would that work?
Good question.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
we
I
don't
don't know Ogier anatomy, so I can't say that it won't work.
We don't want to get demonetized, so.
Oh, darn. So, well, you don't get enough views to get any money off of these anyway. So, what else here? I believe that the town stared at Bubba, or stared at Perrin.
Sure,
but Bubba does not. So what we find
No,
out is
I think what Bubba found strange is that
they
nobody
didn't say hi.
Yeah, they were not
If
coming.
you saw somebody that you
Hey,
saw 2 years
Perry,
ago,
how are
who-
you?
look,
So good to
there-
see
if
you.
if there's a dude who had to leave because a bunch of Trollocs came into your place, do you really want to talk to him? And now he's got yellow eyes, plus he's got this Ogier guy with him, and 2 people with spears. I'm not talking to him. I'm moving to the other side of the street.
but he grew up there. He's been away at college for 2 years. This is just odd.
He hasn't been at college for 2 years.
2
A
years.
whole town got attacked because of him. He had to leave because the town got attacked.
You know what? Shake it off, Matt.
No.
Taylor Swift said, "Shake it off. Shake it off.
Shake it off. Shake it off." Yeah. Anyway, so the whole issue is Bornhold Jr.
And
His
you
parent
killed one.
Perrin
Yeah.
killed Daddy Bornhold, and so
One time. Shake it off.
I like the group of red pills there. Like, and he is drunk. He's so ridiculous. And Child Valda is like, I wanna talk to them. Like,
that's episode 3.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no, don't spoil it. I love Child Valda. He's a great evil bastard.
Stop,
But they
Matt.
tell
You
Perrin.
don't want... No, Matt, you're terrible. You bring up them and then you tell me that's
Because
episode 3,
that's
but
what-
they just appeared on episode 3.
That's what
we are
Egwene's
talking
mom
episode
told
2.
Perrin. That's why I'm saying it, because
Yeah,
Egwene's mom told Perrin that Dane Bornhold was
Nobody
looking for
said, "Oh, what about the white cloaks?" And I was like, yeah, let's talk about them. So
all right.
It's your fault.
Well, now we only have one extra episode to talk about next week, so it'll be
right.
easier after this. What else about the 2 rivers?
It's fun to be
Nothing.
back there. It's fun to be back there. This is where
You
it all
have-
started. It's fun
You
to be
have
back.
Aiel. You have Aiel there.
She hasn't been named yet by this episode, but
No, but what her name that she gives is Manjib, no?
Mandarb. She gives him
Mandarb.
which cracks him up because that's
Yeah.
Lance's horse's name. Which means sword in Saldean or Old Tongue. I'm not sure which, but we'll talk about that next week for sure. So they found a really cool way to write Michael Meckelhatton out of the season.
Mhm.
He's the one who plays Tam.
Yeah.
Bubba, you know him as Roose Bolton probably more prominently.
Tam's dad, for sure.
Yeah, so that's Rand's dad. And they found a way to write him out of the season just by saying, well, he took your folks away.
Yeah, that was really, really classy. I like it.
It was so clever.
No, I really
that's a
like the
complaint that I
throwaway
have.
lines. I really like the throwaway lines that explain a lot of things. I really like
that is such a complaint that I have as a book reader. I need Tam there. He was in the war where he discovered Rand.
Yeah, it's true.
He needs to be there. And instead he's not going to be, unless he shows up last minute, which we can hope.
I think he is going to show up just last season.
I don't know. We could talk about why it's important that Michael McElhatton stays, if that's how you say his name. I apologize, sir.
Maybe he doesn't want to go back.
Tam. Yeah, it's very important that he stays as Tam for season 7. For season 7.
Wow.
Assuming that they're gonna write it up. What else on the Two Rivers? Bubba, you got anything?
I got nothing.
Nothing else. It's glad we're back.
Yeah.
Priscilla, nothing? All right.
Bubba Has Questions.
So, Bubba, you have questions. Have we answered any of them up to this point?
Well, you're getting to one right here at the end. And that is that I've not read the books, but I'm paying attention. I'm sending out messages on social media, talking to Wheel of Time people. And one thing that I can tell from doing this is there always seems to be a fair amount of drama about, is Amazon Prime going to give us another season of the Wheel of Time? Will they renew the show for season 4? Matt, you keep mentioning there are 14 books. How many seasons of show at 8 episodes each do you think this series needs to complete the story? I mean, wow.
A minimum of 6.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
a minimum of 6.
Okay.
There's a point in the books where Robert was making a lot of notes. Mr. Jordan was making a lot of notes.
Sure.
Trying to figure out how to get to the end game. Brandon Sanderson used those notes and had the intention of writing 1 book. Instead, he ended up writing 3 because he had to do it that way.
Okay.
But that was also because Robert Jordan put in so many little facets along the way, much like we were talking about the Marinese knot with George R. R. Martin. There are those kinds of things that we call the slog.
Mm.
The whole idea that they can axe a whole lot of that. And I think they're even axing one storyline from book 7 now.
Wow.
By how they're setting up people to go to a certain location together where they wouldn't have been together in that location in book 4. So
okay.
That's the way, minimum of 6. I would love to see 8 so that I could get more things, but minimum of 6.
Dang. All right. Well, okay, here's my next question, and it's kind of a big philosophical question. I was thinking about this show and about how it feels like the book series and the show in some ways were obviously inspired by Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings. And one thing I think about the Lord of the Rings is that if you wanted to, it's this grand fantasy adventure, but if you wanted to, you could boil it down to the heroes want to destroy a ring, the bad guys want to get a ring. You know, like literally it's that short and simple. I don't know how many words that was, but it felt like 10 at the most. You describe Game of Thrones and you're like, people fight over the throne, big bad monsters are going to attack. You know, like literally it's kind of that simple. In this show, to me, I was trying to do the version of that. Like heroes want to destroy a ring, villains want to get a ring. And I was like, okay, so I'm trying to do it. I'm like, heroes want to live in peace while the villains want to kill everything for the master who either hates the main hero or wants to kill the real hero, but the real hero might go insane before the final battle. Like it feels like this show in this world is so complex. It's really hard to narrow it down to one kind of simple thing. Destroy ring, get ring. You know, it's real hard to distill it down to that. And
I like how you took it in a kind of a reverse order there. And I think I can simplify it down even further in that way. The Dark One wants in the world. Everybody else wants him out of it. And it
Okay.
boils down
All
to
right.
that.
All right. Cool. That is one thing I think the show could almost reinforce. I keep mentioning I've not read the books, but that's not technically true because after I watched the first 2 seasons, I read the first 2 books. And the one thing about those first 2 books is the Dark One, and I admit I did it on audiobook. The Dark One is kind of like a constant presence. He's constantly talking, and the narrator's always like, "Hey, how you like me now, Rand? Althor, I'll get you." You know, like he's a constant presence in the show, in the books. And so I wonder if the Dark One, when he's going to show up and be kind of a constant presence in the show. So, the big question is I'm expecting the Dark One, the evil presence, to take on a shape, you know, kind of like how I'm going to suddenly go to a different modern fantasy, Harry Potter. Voldemort does show up at a certain point in the book. Spoilers. It becomes like a presence in the tale. Like, you know, before he's like, oh, is he back? Oh, he's this shadowy figure. Is he back? Suddenly he's like a part of the show. It feels like, well, is the Dark One going to become a part of the show?
I feel like I'd be spoiling the books if I answered that.
Because
just say it.
No.
Sauron isn't, you know, a physical presence in the Lord of the Rings based on, I've only seen the movies, I haven't read the books, but you know what Sauron wants. Sauron may want a giant big thing about, hey, I'm going to rule the world. I'm going to have everybody bend to my will, yada, yada, yada. But he has kind of a very simple goal. I want that ring. You know, like it's very easy to comprehend. The Dark One's kind of goal
is to break the wheel.
You know, Matt, it needs to be as clear in how you do that. Like, I understand as a human being, okay, how do you get the ring? Well, you take the ring. How do you break the wheel? That, I think these kind of things, I think would help me center on the, you know, almost have something to focus on. So that's what I'm saying.
I agree. I think the show's done a poor job of showing people the big picture. I'm wondering if there's reasons for that.
Okay.
Fireweave of the week. Who had the best stinger, the best burn out of these 2 episodes? I'll
Matt,
go first.
You go first.
I'll go first. Moiraine says that you honestly think that I'd be willing to hurt these kids. And Lanfear basically says, yeah. It's the one thing that I actually like about you.
Yes.
Yes. It's just like, bam, got it. Priscilla, how about you?
No, I didn't do anything shady. I didn't see anything shady. I think the whole presence of Elayne is already a diss track. Yeah, like she's just like this, like flying around and trying to get Swan to be ousted, and it's so nice because she's not even making you know, she's not even pretending that she's just there chilling. She's just like, no, I came here for this, and I don't think you're capable. And by this point, Swan is doing a very good job of proving to everybody that she's not capable. So, like, I don't know who else. I think Aviendha shading Red was also very good.
Yeah,
so like
that too. That was an
I always heard about the Karakan, but like just to think he's you, it was very nice.
Yeah, that was perfect.
That was good.
Bubba, how about yours?
My fire weave of the week is Aviendha on herself when she's like, you wetlanders with your silly prophecies that you follow. Look at me. I'm chasing the Kara Corn and he's going to kill me in your face.
Excellent. A conceptual burn on herself. Excellent. Musical analysis. If you don't like analysis of music, skip ahead 9 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to talk about something that everybody's seen 3 billion times by now because it's been out for 2 months. The first 11 minutes and how Lauren made it super cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first musical analysis for the season. We're going to look right at the premiere. We're actually going to look at the first 11 to 15 minutes of that episode. And I know a lot of folks saw this well before the premiere came out, but it's worth noting because it kind of sets the tone for everything that we've seen so far in the fact that it's pretty uncomfortable in a lot of ways, right? At very least, that premiere episode gave us a great deal of intensity, and these first scenes really helped kick it off. Mr. Balfe does some very special things with his scores in the way that it's mixed, in the voices that he chooses, meaning the instrumentation and everything, even if his structures are not always all that complex. And he can do complex things, but he doesn't always choose to, because sometimes you just don't have to. And that is the case with these first 15 minutes as well, because out of all of the music that you hear, there is one continual type of motif, or at very least harmonic gesture, that occurs. Things feel pretty tense all throughout that, right? And the way that intensity is achieved is actually through what we call a tritone. It sounds like this. That's a pretty uncomfortable sound when you play those two notes at the same time. And you don't even have to play those notes at the same time. You can sometimes just follow one with the other, and it will feel still just as uncomfortable. Why is that? Because tritones are symmetrical harmony, and there's something about humans and symmetrical harmony. We don't like to divide our harmony into twos, into exact twos or splits where they're the same notes on either side of those two notes. And that's exactly what happens. If I, in a 12-tone Western scale, move up 6 spaces, like say from an E, I get a B flat. Yet if I go up the 6 spaces from B flat, guess what? I get an E. So we're right back where we started. That's what I mean by symmetry. Because of this symmetry, human ears feel a great need to hear some type of resolution to that. And that's what creates the tension initially, is because we want it to resolve. One or both of the notes needs to move to another spot in order for us to feel better about it. It's that symmetry, the fact that one leads to the other leads to the other. It creates this circle that never feels broken. It never feels like we can escape. And that's what Mr. Balfe employs a great deal throughout his musical painting of this scene. As Swan starts to lift Leandrin and the music is really starting to kick in, then of course you hear voices, you hear other instruments that make it sound big, and it's an excellent choice of the instrumentation. But what really makes it work is this theme that is played with these instruments. That sounds like this. So what is it exactly that we have here? Well, first of all, we are in a minor key. And I know I explain this every time that I cover this, but I'm going to continue to explain it just in case you're new. A minor key always feels darker than a major key. One of the reasons that is because the natural overtone series hits a lot of the major chord kind of notes. Like if you sing a single note, it's made up of many other little notes. You just can't hear them quite as well. But physics creates what we call a major chord, which we as humans and living in a world of physics are more accustomed to. Whereas the minor changes that landscape and makes us feel less in tune, so to speak. And I'm not talking about the instruments themselves. I'm just talking about us and our state of mind. So anytime you have something that starts off or is centered around what we call a minor key as opposed to a major key, you're going to feel darker about it than if it was in the major key. But it's the second set of harmonies that throws everything off. When it drops from that minor chord that we know to another chord that doesn't seem like it's supposed to belong there, that's the tritone effect right there, because the top note, the melody note, is actually a tritone away from the harmony that we've already established with the first chord. And there you have it. It's that second phrase that really throws everything off kilter. First of all, the top note feels like it's sliding into a place where it shouldn't belong. That gives us an unsteady feeling. It feels like the rug's being pulled out from under us. We're starting to fall. And then the minor in the third and fourth chords is reinforced by that harmonic structure, because it kind of, after it slips out there for a second, it kind of comes back. And reestablishes, yes, we're still in this dark place. But it's just like you're standing on flat ground and suddenly there's an earthquake and you feel the earth move underneath you with that second chord. That's the tritone effect. On top of that, the lower note in that second chord actually moves up. So it also feels like everything is compressing more. And that creates even more tension. And believe me, Lorne doesn't care about any of this stuff. He's just making music that he knows will do stuff for you. He's not going to sit here and give you a theory lesson as to how. That's my job. But you might have also noticed that in the build-up to that big thing where Swan starts to lift Liandrin up, that things already felt tense. And there really wasn't that much going on musically underneath, except there was. Lorne was centering everything on what we call the dominant. He was playing the fifth note of that minor scale underneath. And the fifth note of a minor scale always seems to want to bounce back to the one. Why? Because its natural chord has a tritone in it. If I were playing in B flat minor, then my dominant chord will be an F, an A, a C, and an E flat. Guess where the interval is that's a tritone? A and E flat. They both need to resolve somewhere. The A probably needs to resolve up to the B flat. The E flat needs to resolve down to the D flat, which is the third of the B flat minor chord. And the fact that Lorne hangs on that 5 for so long and doesn't even add the harmony to it, he just uses the note, because we're going to feel that tension, especially when it resolves as Nynaeve walks into the room. As Swan tells Liandrin, haha, we caught you. Here's Nynaeve to tell you how. Nynaeve walks in the room and the 5 is there, and then all of a sudden there's this deep root, which tells us, oh boy, things are about to get heavy. Like this. And because tritones are so overt in creating tension, he now doesn't have to use them quite as much, even though he does use this particular motif, this particular theme, a lot throughout the fight. When he cuts away to Perrin and Naomi and Adelaus, he doesn't have to put it there because it's already stuck in your head, so that when you return back to the scene in the main hall, you're going to go, oh, here we go again. And yeah, the theme returns again. It's a wonderful job by Mr. Balfe, as always. He always does fantastic stuff. I got to do a composer symposium where he answered some of our questions about film scoring and everything just a couple of months ago. And as always, he's gracious and so knowledgeable. And the things that he shares are just real and down to earth. Can't wait to share more of that with you as we go along throughout the season. And that's it for the musical analysis. Let's get back to talking about the episode. And we also have some feedback, so let's get to that before we start to get into spoilers and everything. In feedback, Bubba on his social media, that's at the word double the letters PHQ, asked this question. What do you fans, without spoiling, think of the new episodes that have come out? And Tyrion on Blue Sky says, so far it's shredding, and I hope for bananas and bonkers as well. That's a laugh. That's an inside joke about from the Dusty Wheel podcast, I think. So that was great. I loved combined what was in the books, mixed from the books, and changed from the books. This is a joyride. I agreed. Nerdy Guns says this. Brilliant and very well done. Applause, applause, applause. Arosa says, happy and satisfied. The nerd theorists say proud. And Nils, that's Nils TV on Blue Sky, says, well, it's just a meme of a guy being very, very excited, overly excited. In our stars, Kate, that's Varda Sky on Blue Sky, says, I had a few disappointments, but my main feeling is, by God, you better not stop. Totally agreed. Thanks for the feedback, everybody. Remember, you can always reach out to me, Matthew, Murdoch, matthewmurdoch.bsky.social, or you can reach Bubba, the word double, the letters PHQ, or if you want to leave comments on our YouTube videos, that's at the word double, the letter P, the word media, and you can also leave comments on Priscilla's videos. She'll be covering these as well. She covers them in Portuguese, but the translator on YouTube works pretty good, so use that and hear what her deep thoughts are, since I never let her talk here anyway. Find her Priscilla TV1 on YouTube.
Matt, this has been so fun. I'm so glad the Wheel of Time is back for season 3. My name's Bubba. You can find me on all social medias at double PHQ. That's the word double, the single letter P for podcast, HQ for headquarters at double PHQ.
Thank you, Bubba. Thanks for joining us. Priscilla and I are going to be getting into some spoiler talk briefly about these 2 episodes. In the meantime, don't forget, at the word double, the letter P, the word media on YouTube. And of course, Priscilla also at Priscilla TV1 on YouTube. You can find me, mattsaudioblog@gmail.com or matthewmurdoch.bsky.social. If you are not, I think I can limit this to book 7, book 6. If you haven't read that far in The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, please dismiss yourself unless you want to be spoiled. You've been warned. Priscilla, here we are in spoiler territory.
I cannot even open my mouth without being a spoiler, because
that's the way you run. That's the way you roll, Priscilla. It's all right. Now we're in a place where it doesn't matter what you said. We can even talk about the 3rd episode if you want. I want to hear your first spoiler thought.
I love the 3rd episode.
It was really
even
good.
more than the first.
Wow.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love it so much. Like the Forsaken having their get together. I thought it was so fun, and I want more of those.
Yeah. And what I want is, they're always, because everybody's going for that nameless spot, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be the Dark One's, lead guy, or lead person. So the way that the alliances come together, fall apart, the way they sabotage each other, and essentially what you find out as you go further along is that they're doing the exact same thing to themselves that they did the first time around, which is why they failed the first time around. So just this petty thing, and it's all inspired because the Dark One is nothing but just an inspiring, greed and want and all of these things.
But so that's the whole point of like the bad guys, right? Like if you just step aside and leave them to their own devices, they are going to destroy themselves, because they're all bad guys. Exactly. They cannot trust each other, and like that meeting was so good. And I know Rafe does not want to say how many Forsaken we are having for sure.
I think it's going to be 8.
Yeah,
there were 8 seals. Yeah,
that's what they hinted in the first season, but he's still not like saying that outright. But they already name dropped everybody that is not that like. And lanfear said that Ishamael might come back, because Ishamael is the nameless.
Okay, so lanfear, Mogi, Ravin, Samael, who we met in the 3rd episode also, Cimarog, and Grendel.
Yeah,
Grendel was actually mentioned in season 2, and then Ishi would be number 8. Except he's got to come back as Moiraine, not Ishi.
Yeah, but that's what like lanfear is implying, that he's coming back, because they were discussing about nameless, and it's like, oh, maybe Ishi's coming back.
No,
maybe
I'm not disagreeing with you. So that's 7 then, right?
Yeah.
So we got one other one. So will it be Asmodean or Demandred or Demandred?
I don't know. Who do you think it would be?
Well, they've shown a statue of what I think is Asmodean holding the harp. Remember the guy in the warder? He had those statues. So I'm wondering if it's Asmodean, except for, this would be the season to introduce Asmodean.
Yes, he should appear for Rand, right?
Yeah. He actually helps, train Rand.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, even though he can't, once Rand puts the shield on him, he can't really do anything himself anymore. But
And did you like that they are mentioning Mazin?
Mentioning who?
It's Mazin, like the false
Oh,
dragon.
Mazrim time, yeah.
Yeah.
So Mazrim ends up becoming a
One.
big help, part
And
of
a
the Ashman.
Forsaken. He becomes a Forsaken, right?
We've got
Rand.
a lot of time of him actually being an Ashaman for Rand. He forms the Black Tower, which is the male channelers. That's all the Black Tower is.
But we were talking about that we thought that they would give that spot to Logain. That they would not come.
Oh, it's possible that they could do that. They could do that.
Yeah. So do you think it's possible that they are just like name dropping him? And they
I don't know. It's a good excuse. It's a good excuse to send Tusama away, or Sutama. Pardon me. Sutama is that red?
Okay, I would not be mad.
Yeah. Well, that's twice though. They mentioned him in season 2 as well.
Yeah, it seems a little bit off to mention a same person twice.
Yeah.
And not
unless it's just writer. We need an excuse. Here's writer's excuse. We'll just throw the name.
Something that I'm really enjoying is like that the excuse is like to put some person here, some person there. Like they are flowing a little bit better this time around.
I agree.
Like the motivations of, oh, I have to go there, I have to do this. I think the whole thing with Leandrin, the investigation that they are doing with Leandrin, in the end I thought was tiny bit forced, but in the context of the TV show, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying a lot, actually.
Yeah. I loved the way that they set it up. Now it seems perfectly because in the books you don't really understand why Moiraine wants to go to Viridian other than her just saying that she wants to, right? So, but because Avi was talking, the first question that Moiraine asked was, "Are the Aiel prophecies different?" And Aviendha explains that, and that really explains Moraine's interest into going into the rings in Viridian. It sets it up very nicely. I also Robin / Gabriel name dropped Garth Bryn, call him Captain General Bryn or whatever, but he's the one that Swan and Leanne and Min they end up at their house while they're on the run from after the coup.
Yeah, but how exactly this will happen? Because Min is not.
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it.
The coup?
No, they're going to do the coup. I just don't know what they're going to do with Swan and Leanne after that. They may just start something in Saladar. I don't think we're going to have that whole running thing. So, I don't think Logain's going to be there. I don't think any of that's happening.
We have nobody in the tower that could, except for Varing.
Right. And the whole bit with Varen and the fact that she didn't ask anything about the gray man.
And that
she was able to shield off a little bit of Naomi's.
Yeah, but Nynaeve already said that. No, Nynaeve is already like.
Yeah, Nynaeve doesn't trust her.
Yeah.
Nynaeve doesn't trust anybody though either. So there's that. But yeah, I love all that. The Tigraine reference, which you mentioned in a regular podcast, regular portion of the podcast. That's great. Yeah. Although, I don't know how they're going to do the bloodline connection between is Galad and Rand.
This you told me that actually Galad is going to be a full-blown son of.
Well, that's what I thought that they were saying. The way that the press release was worded, I thought that that's what they were doing.
Because they're half brothers.
They're half brothers in the book. Well, yeah,
they're half brothers by mother.
They share the same mother. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, when Min saw that vision of Matt hanging in the door frame, in episode 3, and then in this episode or these 2 episodes, you get the game Foxes and Snakes.
episode 3 was so good, it's so eventful that you cannot help but talk about it. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it was a
Yeah.
very good episode.
But the way
It's
that it
kind of
ties
like,
into these two episodes is you
yeah,
see the foxes and
exactly.
snakes game. Yeah,
I-
without saying as much,
everything
except
that
we can now because we're in spoilers.
everything that you see on episode 1 and episode 2, like there is not a payback, but there is like some sort of like
External reference. Yep.
expansion in the episode 3. So, and I thought it was the way they have been doing it so so natural. I was really blown away. I really
Elayne is
liked
never
it.
going to send 2 letters to Rand because she sent them to 2 people in the Andoran court instead. And
yeah, but did you like more gays?
better than I expected to.
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
And did you get the impression also that she's a schemer?
Oh yeah.
That's good, right?
But another
like,
thing that the show is doing that I don't think the books really did, to a great extent anyway, is demonstrating that how much influence Outta had on Morgaze.
That's correct.
So
the way they are doing it, it's like she basically made Morgaze win the throne. Like it was really an alliance between them both.
She, you know, she foresaw it or whatever. Like
just
like she tells men, you know, it's not just about seeing it and waiting for it to happen. You got to make it happen and then know how to react after it happens. So, but I don't know what's going on. And again, we're into episode 3 here, but I don't know what's going on with the Tremors thing that Elyda's having. That's something that I don't recall.
This was episode 3, right? And I don't. Do you think it will be because like she's very, like she's older than Swan? Maybe that she has some sort of problem with her like channeling.
Could be, but I since Aes Sedai lived to be hundreds of years old anyway.
Yeah, but I think what implies is that like because she gets very angry when she starts like shaking.
Yeah.
Right. So why would an Aes Sedai get very angry? Like in the show, every time there is something wrong with that channel abilities.
Yeah.
That gets them down. Like we saw that with Moiraine.
Maybe she's not seeing the future as good as she used to or something.
Yeah, but she says to me that like this is like that her visions are, it's not the visions, but like it's very far in between, but they are very strong, and that she works with. So my guess is that Elida in the show that she has some sort of condition also in relation to her extra powers that and that she doesn't trust anybody, so that's why nobody knows. But the thing with Morgaze is like what is really implied is like Rafe is a Forsaken, right? And he's using compulsion on Morgaze, and he's using compulsion like people drink water, correct?
Yeah.
So he's making it happen. So might be that he's using on Elida too to some extent. And you said, as you said yourself, like
and Elida wouldn't be able to detect it because he's a male channeler.
Yes. So I don't know if this thing is also something in relation to Raven, like, you know, because at that point when that he appeared, Elida was the prime advisor, and now he is the one.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It's very possible.
Two options. Either it's something related to her channel abilities that is driving her crazy because that was happened, or is Ravin doing it.
And I'm going to add just a couple of little thoughts of my own as well right here at the end. I can't stop thinking about Matt hearing the screams and saying that they die, and then it's almost like he implies that it happens again. Now, that's very reminiscent of Hinterstop, of course, but since this is from his past, Hinterstop 1.0, I don't know. Another thing, we're not going to get a Mies in the show, and that was who, of course, Egwene got first. Don't have a problem with that, but out of respect for a Mies Farstrider from Threefold Talk, I am now going to refer to Bear as Bear Mies from now on. I loved that painting of Rand and Ishii fighting in the sky, and my biggest wonder is, will we see that again once Elaida takes over at the tower? Will that be the painting that ends up in her office? It's not quite as big as I expected it to be for it to be in her office, but who knows? Maybe she recommissions it, gets it done again. Oh yeah, one other thing. The Foxes and the Snakes game in the bar that I guess Perrin and Rand were playing, which is kind of weird since Matt's the one that is mostly closely associated with the whole Foxes and Snakes thing. But I just keep thinking of Oliver playing that game over and over and over again. And I'm not sure that I want Oliver in the show. And maybe there'll be portions that get trimmed out. Like I mentioned earlier, with Matt going to Tanchico, it's a lot like Matt going to Ebodar. Maybe the Bowl of Winds thing is going to be dropped, and really, granted, that's just books 7 and 8, but it's another story that they haven't given any allusion to the weather getting hotter or anything like that. So do we really need a Bowl of Winds for the television show? I understand, what that means for Elayne and Aviendha and Nynaeve and those hidden, couldn't quite make the grade Aes Sedai that are in Ebodar. But I just wonder if you really need that storyline. If they're going to do it, they need to do it fully. But I think the better idea would be just to cut it. But that's just me. Let me know what you think. Again, mattsaudioblog@gmail.com or matthewmurdoch.bsky.social. Thank you, folks, so much for sticking around with the spoiler section. And we will come back next time with episodes 3 and 4 of season 3 of The Wheel of Time. Priscilla is at PriscillaTV1. You can find me, mattsaudioblog@gmail.com. See ya.
Bye.